Steam carriages first appeared in London in 1881, courtesy of Sir Edmund Wellesley's eccentric automaton workshops. The newly minted Parliament of Steam allocated vast funds to research clockwork artillery after rumors of Prussian mech development. Public demonstrations of steam rifles boomed in popularity, with thousands gathering at Hyde Park to witness bullet-firing pistons. Protests over child labor in gear factories simmered beneath the empire's gleaming veneer, fueling underground dissent. Scholars from the Royal Academy of Steam believe mechanized warfare could end conflict swiftly, an ironic prelude to drawn-out devastation. Deep within London's fog-shrouded back alleys, maverick engineers toiled in secret workshops, crafting prototype automatons that blurred the line between art and annihilation. In secret telegrams, Britain's War Council discussed intelligence, indicating rival continental powers' rapid adoption of mechs. With Britain's steam empire on high alert, neighboring powers scrambled to fortify their borders. The frantic mobilization of reservists and mechanized brigades left factories struggling to meet unprecedented demands. The Austro-Cog Confederation expanded mountain forges, rolling out thick steel plating at breakneck speed, while Madame Leclerc's French engineers perfected compressed air weaponry. By May, tensions erupted across fields once known for their calm beauty. Mechanical legions clashed near Flanders, unleashing rotating artillery and steam lance cavalry. Smoke and cinder choked the skies as entire squads sank into mud, exposing early flaws in these fearsome war machines. Even neutral observers marveled at these lumbering contraptions, never suspecting how soon they would tear Europe apart. Zeppelins attempted cargo drops, often ending in catastrophe when overloaded boilers tore through airship frames. Despite hopes of swift victory, both sides found themselves locked in a swirling haze of steam and broken steel, a grim foreshadowing of the devastation yet to come. Little did they know, the true cost of forging such mechanical might would be measured in ashes and untold human suffering. Conflict surged skyward in early summer. The British Cloud Flotilla, armed with steam-powered turrets, dueled French mechanical hawks over battered countryside. Smoke-belching gyrocopters twisted through dogfights, sometimes colliding mid-air in the coal-stained gloom. Pilots of these early flying machines recounted harrowing tales of controls freezing mid-flight, propeller blades cracking under immense rotational stress, and desperate maneuvers to avoid plummeting debris. Families back home often learned of their loved ones' fates through grim dispatches, detailing mechanical failures as frequently as enemy fire. Far below, newly minted factories churned out colossal mechs, rumored to stand 3 stories tall. These towering behemoths shook the Rhine-Cog corridor with every ponderous step. Yet their might came at a cost. Engines overheated under the relentless July sun, and a single saboteur's wrench could disable an entire regiment of boilers. Maintenance crews worked tirelessly amid the oppressive heat, frantically dousing steaming boilers with buckets of coolant, their hands blistered from scalding metal. Sabotage paranoia gripped armies. Inspections turned increasingly ruthless, searching pockets and toolkits alike as trust eroded among comrades. Supply lines strained beneath the pressure of mass production and constant innovation. Even as battered armies reeled, fresh monstrosities of steam and iron rolled off assembly lines, fueling an endless race toward mechanical supremacy. August brought a thunderous clash across the English Channel. Steam dreadnoughts, bristling with rotating turrets, carved through choppy waters, threatening blockades, while amphibious mechs waded ashore in swirling sea mist. Below decks, stokers shoveled coal with furious desperation. Sweat mingling with seawater, leaking through cracked hull plates. Amid combat chaos, overheated pipes frequently burst, scalding crews forced to patch steam leaks under relentless artillery fire. High overhead, French marine dirigibles rained incendiaries onto British convoys, setting decks ablaze under thick clouds of coal smoke. Dawn watchers on the cliffs of Dover saw mech silhouettes emerge through the haze, engines groaning as salt spray hissed against searing boiler plates. Amphibious mech suits, sealed to protect pilots from saltwater leaks, waded onto beaches carrying short-range torpedo tubes that threatened any vessel venturing too close to shore. Closer to Dover's ports, hasty minefields armed with clockwork fuses bobbed ominously under the surf, primed to detonate if a stray mech trudged too close. Fishermen in battered boats fled the war zone with nets tangled in sunken wreckage, half-submerged mechs jutting from the waves like rusted sea monsters. In the Channel's perpetual fog, more than one Allied dreadnought found itself under friendly mech fire, a testament to the growing confusion of an ever-escalating conflict. News reports of friendly fire incidents sparked public outrage at home, calling into question the strategic wisdom of commanders. As coastal battles raged on, rival inventors turned to even deadlier technologies inland. Coil-poison gas, a superheated mercury vapor, piped through rifle nozzles, spread terror in the trenches, forcing soldiers to don primitive masks that barely filtered the toxic fumes. Medical tents overflowed with gas victims, soldiers clutching their throats, lungs seared by mercury vapor. Medics, unprepared and ill-equipped, improvised crude remedies, their efforts barely stemming the horrific injuries that became grimly commonplace. At secret workshop compounds, engineers tested arc lances, portable rods charged by wheezing generator coils. When triggered, they unleashed high-voltage bursts, capable of melting a mech's outer plating in seconds. New defensive measures, such as anti-electric mesh draped over armor, slowed machine movement and left entire divisions vulnerable to sabotage. Allied spies infiltrated factory floors, planting wrenches in crucial gear compartments, resulting in catastrophic piston lockups at the height of battle. Troops grew to fear not only enemy fire, but the machines that surrounded them, their whispered curses directed as often at faulty valves and leaking gaskets as at rival forces. Engineers and saboteurs became equally feared, figures whose secretive work could dictate survival or ruin. Civilians near workshop zones reported nightly flashes of electric discharge and the choking hiss of coil-poison trials, haunting reminders that no invention remained off-limits in the race to break the stalemate. By autumn, the war moved into major cities. In Paris, soot-stained boulevards fell under rolling bombardment as giant mechs stomped past shattered arc lamps and torn cafe canopies. Barricaded civilians huddled in labyrinthine catacombs, sometimes hearing the metallic grind of tankettes overhead. Block by block, engagements reduced once grand avenues to twisted piping and broken masonry. Historic landmarks crumbled under relentless bombardment. The great clock towers of Europe, symbols of precision engineering, now lay shattered among rubble. Civilians emerging briefly from shelters could hardly recognize their once beloved cities, now marred by gears, grime, and grease. Outside city limits, farmland fared no better. Treaded tankettes churned soil into mud, and harvests rotted in abandoned fields. Stagnant front lines sprawled across Europe where gear-locked mechs rusted in no man's land, their piston housings seized by bitter cold and perpetual damp. Factory workers toiled in triple shifts, forging replacement parts from salvaged enemy scrap. Despite attempts at diplomacy in neutral Swiss enclaves, each side feared the other's next technological leap. Day and night, columns of steam lancers and exo-armored infantry advanced inches at a time, locked in a brutal cycle of siege and attrition. Letters from the trenches described increasingly surreal scenes, soldiers decorating rusted mech hulks with graffiti, desperate gestures of humanity amid endless mechanical ruin. As winter settled in, the combatants neared total exhaustion. Factories collapsed under labor strikes and coal shortages, forcing leaders to sign the hastily drafted Peace of Nuremberg. The hurried peace came amid rising public discontent, workers rioting in gear factories demanding bread instead of bullets. Politicians scrambled to justify the colossal expenditure of resources and lives, their grand speeches met increasingly by silence or outright hostility. War-weary soldiers trudged through city squares littered with the husks of once fearsome mechs. The newly silent factories pivoted to forging medical prosthetics, hoping to aid thousands of coil-poison and arc lance survivors. In Berlin, an entire district remained fenced off, its collapsed steam dreadnought hull still venting toxic vapors. Across Europe, memorials appeared, statues fashioned from salvaged gears and steam valves, dedicated to both the pilots and the machines that once defined this great steam war. Former mech pilots, now hollow-eyed veterans haunted by their experiences, recounted in memoirs and public testimonies the dual pride and trauma of operating machines that could inspire awe one moment and deliver death the next. Diaries from the front spoke of admiration for technological marvels, soured by nightmares of endless trench battles and suffocating gas clouds. In the final reckoning, the war ended not with glory, but with a continent learning, however briefly, that unbridled progress can lead nations into the darkest depths of destruction.